previous correspondences between the parties whereby I don't know, documents or correspondences were sent via that WhatsApp or email.
I have a question, Sharif
Sure.
here. What if the document is received by someone but not the actual person listed on the papers?
Cannot. So our process server will actually ask, who are you? Is this you? Like, is this your name? Is this your NRIC? If the person says yes, then that's where our process server will pass it. Usually he will ask to sign also and acknowledge, but sometimes people don't want that. So even if they don't sign, it's still considered valid service as long as that's the person. Actually, right now, I have a case whereby we are trying to serve papers on this person, a guarantor. He is evading service because he gave us this certain address, but then it turns out that he's not living there, and then another address, and turns out he's not living there. And then when my process server asked, where will you be? How about you just give me a date, time, and location? I can meet you anywhere. Coffee shop also can. You just tell me where, right? And he keeps evading lah. He'll just say, I'll tell you on Monday, and then Monday comes and he didn't respond. So I think for that case, we are probably going to apply for the substituted service, serve it via email or WhatsApp.
Thank you.
Yeah, Facebook is also possible.
Okay, I got a question. Okay, this is regarding if let's say we have individual personal debts. Okay, for example, now government has increased the debt from to sue you for bankruptcy from 15 to 60,000, right?
Correct.
So, are we able to go for this DRS scheme, or we are not able to go for DRS scheme until we reach the 60,000?
Okay,
because
so
the interest is crazy.
Understand. So DRS can only be, you can only be analysed whether you're eligible for DRS kalau bankruptcy proceedings are commenced against you. Right? So kalau tak boleh commence, if you cannot commence bankruptcy proceedings, then the DRS won't even, cannot even be an option. Because the court can only refer a matter for DRS when it's in court lah for bankruptcy.
If let's say we personally want to declare ourselves bankrupt,
you can do so. You still have to meet the 60,000 threshold. There will be more. Basically, I guess you will have to pay money to make yourself bankrupt because you will still have to take out a court application. So there are actually a lot of people coming to us trying to make themselves bankrupt. But the reason why they want to commence self-bankruptcy is because they want to go for DRS.
But let's say, for example, I mean, you're already undergoing a bankruptcy. Then you really cannot pay the amount that they ask you for. Then what is the rationale of you paying some more to declare yourself a bankrupt?
You're already undergoing a bankruptcy, meaning that there's a bankruptcy suit already commenced, is it?
Yes.
Okay, then don't commence. It's actually okay if what you want is just to be made a bankrupt. Then it doesn't matter who commences or starts the bankruptcy proceedings. It's actually better for someone to start it against you because then you will save money. You know, you don't need to fork out the money to start it. Yeah.
Will they take over your house or anything for this?
No, flats are protected. Flats are protected.
Assets are protected also?
No, not all assets, just HDB flats and CPF. Other than that, so what happens is that if you are made a bankrupt, right, there will be an official assignee, or if even under DRS, an official assignee will be appointed to basically be the one managing your assets, etc. So if you have monies in the bank, the official assignee will use it and, you know, try to pay off the debts, etc. If you sell off your flat, then habis lah. The monies can be used. So if you have a flat, don't sell it. Just hold on to it. Anyway, you will need a roof over your head. Yeah.
Then your barang-barang inside the flat, they will take
The barang-barang inside the flats, I don't believe so. No, unless it's very valuable. Unlikely. Yeah.
This one, if one more question, you got to book an appointment. Your question 1A, B, C, D, E.
Dia bukan second question dia 1A, 1B,
I think it's good if you, I think Miss Royani surely will share her email address or something.
Yeah.
But that's good. No, to be fair, I'm just kidding. Obviously, Khairuddin is someone I know very well. It's good. It's good questions and questions that actually always are on our mind. And I find that when we have these questions on our mind and then we actually just discuss it at the coffee shop, which again will be open this Friday, tomorrow, next to this, it will just be, I think so, or I heard somewhere, and then the presumptions, which actually could be very dangerous for your business if you make that as a fact and then base your business or your lifestyle on it. So I think that's a very good question. In fact, to build upon that question, there's always this notion that if you have a sole prop, and you have debts and things like that, when there is a notice or served against you, they can actually capture personal assets.
Yes.
Compared to a private limited. Now, maybe you can clarify that. Is that true or is it fiction?
It's true. So proprietorship is like akin to you operating on your own individual person. So if there's a business, privatize it lah, make it into a private limited so that you're protected, you see. If the business fails, then they cannot touch your assets. There's a separation between the business, the company and the director or shareholder. Unless obviously there's some fraud or mismanagement of assets, etc.
Sure.
Can I add something?
Please.
So,
yes.
as let's say a case, let's say you have somebody like me. Okay, I have a case. So then, does the lawyer go through the situation and see whether do I have a strong case or not a good case, or and then how does it go like that, or just that the lawyer just do whatever the client wants to do?
No, I don't do that. I'm not sure about other lawyers, but I would think not. As a lawyer, we have a duty to obviously tell our clients the strengths and weaknesses of their case lah. Because if not, then how will you decide whether to proceed or not, right?
Yeah.
So we will always analyze the case. So for example, when my client first comes to me, they can provide me some documents saying that, look, I want to recover this debt, right? But then after I commence it in court, and obviously the other side will also provide their own documents. There's a particular process in court called discovery, whereby there's an exchange of documents. So if we read their documents and we see that, or based on their statements, etc., it seems that there's a valid reason why they're not paying. For example, maybe you provided me.
But what about prior to that?
Sorry, prior to that, yeah, obviously.
What about prior to that? Yeah.
Okay, so even in the first consultation,
because like somebody come to you, then first,
yes, even in the first consultation, I would already have analyzed the case. I would already tell clients what's the risk, and there's a benefit to me for that. There's a benefit in me doing that because you see, if we don't tell the clients their strengths and weaknesses, then no one they would not be happy because I guess they would have relied on your statements lah, right? Why would you ask someone to commence a case if they have a weak case, you know? Because there may be other possibilities of resolving the dispute.
Then what about the cost of this litigation? Who bear this cost?
Okay. So if you are the one suing in court, right, then you will have to pay your own lawyers first. Okay, lawyers' fees in Singapore, there's no like, okay, you get a percentage at the end if we succeed. No, it's banned under our professional conduct rules. So the way in which lawyers charge is either per hour. So every hour that we do work, there's a certain fee. But usually for the simpler cases, we don't charge per hour. What we do is that we say, okay, for this step, this is how much it is. If it proceeds to this step, this is how much, and blah, blah, blah. No, it goes on. And it will be set out before the court proceedings lah. so that
Yeah, but is this claimable on the
okay, whether
from
it
the
can be claimed,
defendant
understand.
itself?
Okay, so if you win and the other side loses, the general rule is that the losing party has to pay the winning party. Okay, the amount that you can claim is about 2/3. But having
Two-third
said
what?
that,
Two-third
yeah,
of what?
only 2/3.
No,
For example, 2/3 of
two-thirds of the
your
cost, you
legal
mean?
fees of your cost. Correct.
Okay.
Only 2/3. That's the general rule. But for the low court, right, what we call the magistrates court, there is a range of fees. It's not 2/3. For some of it, it's actually a lot lower. Sekejap. If I can share screen, I'm not sure how to do it. Hold on.
No, wait, I think now you can share with me. It's this
Oh.
button right in the middle of it. So, okay, now.
Okay. Share. Oops.
Okay, you got slides.
Yes.
Okay. You can share that, no problem.
Okay. So you see, losing party to pay winning party, amount is generally 2/3. But for magistrates court, there is a particular table kat bawah, at the bottom. So if your claims is less than 20,000, then unfortunately the amount that you can claim is between 3 to 6,000. This is for professional fees. It does not include GST. If the law firm is GST registered, and it does not include disbursements. Disbursements are basically payments to third parties. So this includes like court filing fees, or when you sign documents before a commissioner for oaths, then commissioning fees. If you need any translation fees, all these are excluded from are basically considered as disbursements lah. So this is the range for magistrates court. And if you're wondering which one is magistrates court, hold on, let me go to the, okay. So which court you commence your claim in depends on how much you're claiming. So if it's 20,000 or less, you can go to the small claims tribunal, which is right at the bottom, right? But the downside is that you must commence the case within 2 years from the date of the first payment due. Okay, and the other downside is that lawyers cannot represent you in the small claims tribunal. What we can do instead is to provide advice in the background, or to ghost draft documents, i.e. we draft the documents, but you'll have to go and find it on your own. Then the next one, where lawyers can really represent, go to court, do everything, is the magistrates court. So it's $60,000 or less. So this is the one with a bit of restrictions, because the court has put in place some procedures to simplify the process in this court, encourage settlement, and save the resources lah. Also the reason why you cannot claim so much. Yeah.
Okay, so these costs are just to pay the winning party, not yet our own cost, right?
Correct.
Wow.
So if you are being sued, then you're the defendant, and if you lose, then if you have a lawyer, you will have paid your lawyer, plus you have to pay the other side. So it's like double.
So this one, that's why there's the limit there, 60K and all those amounts just now.
Correct. But if it's fine. If you are claiming more than 60,000, you can still start a case. It'll just be in a different court lah. Hold on.
Okay, so that one is really the strict rule by the court. So let's say if I have 250K, I cannot say, no, I want to go magistrate court instead.
Cannot. Confirm cannot. Your case will be thrown out.
Okay, I understand. One more question. When
Shana, please.
When did the amount increase from 10 to 20K for the small claims?
I think last year.
Last year. Okay. I understand. Okay. Yeah, just in case I want to sue somebody.
Yeah, but if you want to do that, you should probably do it soon because of the 2-year period.
Yep, can. Okay.
From a 2-year period for you to end the case, or just to start off the
start the case. Yeah.
So it's as in start, which means you're able to
Meaning
serve
to file the case
file
in
the
the
document.
SCT. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
There are also
Then
some restrictions to the SCT. There are certain types of cases that's not allowed to be commenced there, but debt recovery, yes, should be able to.
So as this specific situation, this COVID-19 circuit breaker, I think maybe I and Shannon has the sitting on the opposite seat of the table, is it? So I'm looking
I pay my co-working space, okay.
Is it okay? So that's why I
pay
thought that I'm supposed to sue my side is suing my tenant and you. I thought you kena sue by the co-working space. Sorry, just saying only lah. So like in this particular case, how is it especially in this COVID-19 situation? Where is the uh, what is right, what is wrong, or who has the bigger say, or like this situation currently, like now, like me. So now I'm continuously paying my landlord, but then my client who are smaller, maybe they like so they are not paying. So even though I give them discounts, so they are not paying. So what is the situation like this?
You can claim from them. You are basically the middleman, right? But even though you're the middleman, the way in which you should think of it is that there's two separate
Not really middleman,
contracts.
because not really middleman.
Yeah. Also, what I mean is that you are in the middle, not that you're the middleman, right? That you have to think of it as two separate contracts. One in which people have to pay you, right? The other contract in which you have to pay people. So just because people don't pay you doesn't mean you cannot pay people, others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That definitely. So what I'm saying that because my agreement with the landlord is a simple lease agreement.
Tenancy
right?
agreement, yes.
But tenant and landlord agreement.
Correct.
But my agreement with my client is a service agreement. So that's a difference. There's a difference, right?
Yes.
So how in this particular COVID-19, how does it? Where did my client stand? In terms of not able, like for me, if I can seek, I can write to the landlord, rebate, yes, rebate, and also I can seek to get to pay slowly, right? I think recently it came out that you can write into if you can justify yourself to the landlord, and I think there is a appeal, there's a body that determine this if if two doesn't agree, right? So, but then what about me and the client? So
between you and your clients, it's not governed under this because obviously it's not a tenancy agreement. But what your clients can do is that they can approach you and seek your goodwill, asking whether you can offer them payment via installments instead or deferred payment. That's a decision that you have to make on a business level, because sometimes if you were to extend some goodwill now, it may be good for you in the future, because then there'll be some continuation of relationship and maybe they will still pay you, but that is a decision you have to make on a business
I do not
level.
want to so I also do not want to go into the stage of sending them a letter of demand. So how should I go about?
So
before the letter of demand,
you approach them, see on a case-to-case basis whether it seems that they can pay. If they really can't pay, then offer installments or deferred payment. That's the only other option.
Okay, so I'm on the other side of the table, right?
Yes. I want to listen.
But I'm a good member of a co-working space. I'm a good paying customer. So the regulations on the landlord cannot throw out the tenant, right? So now the law is there already. So it does not apply to a co-working space member.
I don't believe so. You just stated that it's a contract of service, right?
So this would be the touchy issue because we still consider rent a space from the co-working landlord, basically.
Yeah.
Right. So I think this is a very gray area. I know ASME is already looking into this, Sheikh. So just to give
But
you a
then,
heads up.
no co-working space will kick the client out. What?
Yeah,
Which
correct.
co-working space will
This
kick?
is
Because
to
if they kick the client out, who is coming?
Yeah, correct.
Nobody's coming. What? No way,
no,
Nobody
yeah,
will want to kick. If
correct.
the co-working space kick the client out, I think they're stupid. Sorry. I think crazy.
Correct.
Because,
So
right? Because
that
at the moment, who will want to
yeah,
come to your space?
exactly. So that's
So
reputation in
like
play.
my situation is that yes, like now I have some clients who come in who has a contract, term contract. So there's certain the contract not finished, but they want to cabut lah.
Mm.
So then I have to insist that they have to finish their term contract, or maybe like what I said, that we come to a discussion. But some client memang tak nak je buat bodoh and cabut ni lah.
Yep, that is quite common actually.
Yeah, and I have a big company that also doing that now. Which I think
Yeah.
now owing me more than 30,000 already. So
That's
so that's
magistrate
why I
court
don't know,
already.
very difficult. But the situation, so the client, well, for my client, what is their rights actually?
What are their
Maybe
rights?
Shannon can share your thoughts now.
Okay, so sorry, maybe
Sorry. Yeah, go
he
ahead.
asked me. Yeah. So for me, I think what we want is to be fair lah, because if you don't consider us as tenant or subtenant, we are still renting space. So if we are excluded from that law, I don't think it's right lah. Right? I know
Which law are you talking about?
the tenancy,
the
the current
COVID-19 Temporary Measures Act, the one
Yeah.
that has been amended to include tenancy punya matters.
correct.
Yeah, but that
So,
in reference to about defer payment or get the rebate.
Yes.
Yep.
And
But
some
kicking out, no need to
stopping of
worry.
interest also.
Yeah, stopping.
So all those things, right? At the moment, from what I'm hearing, we are not covered.
Is it?
No, it doesn't seem so.
I'm giving everything. I'm giving or whatever
I know,
I get
I
from my
understand.
my landlord.
I
I'm giving
understand.
my client. Also, still tak cukup sama my client.
Yeah. So I know that is goodwill.
Yeah.
It is not under the law.
Yeah.
Right?
But I guess you also have to look at the terms of the contract. Kalau the contract was well drafted such that it took into account this kind of situation, which is highly unlikely actually, then you can claim. But if the contract is very brief, then I don't believe so.
But what about force measures? Does this can come into force measure?
Okay. Force measure. Force measure is a clause that you include in contracts. So it has to be drafted in a tight manner such that it includes pandemics. But okay, maybe let me backtrack. Okay, force measure means an act of God. Most cases.
There's a case that in Hong Kong, during the SARS, that they lose lah.
Yeah, most cases about force measure based on history is about floods or war, etc. Pandemics, not really. I guess there are more cases being argued on this now because of COVID. I know I've heard of one in India. Singapore, not yet, because obviously these disputes need time to really proceed, right? Based on what I've read, it would be a bit difficult now because it really depends on what your clause says, and most clauses don't really say pandemic.
Okay, all right.
Difficult for client or difficult for tenant?
All right.
Operator.
I think maybe we can handle. We can have that question later on. So we if not then Kai pula macam alamak aku pun actually ada EFG. Ini pula dah masuk EFG ni sekarang. So so we toggle to a few questions, and in fact, like how I mentioned just now, obviously Noyani and Alvin Law will be available for any further consultations in depth according to your context. Again, if there is time at the end of the session, so I just want basically for Royani to actually cover the few things that she came out to share, like, you know, like for example, okay, like, can you claim debts owed to you from another company that may be bankrupt or already bankrupt? So what is this? May be bankrupt soon. What's the difference? Maybe bankrupt soon or already bankrupt? The soon and the already.
Maybe bankrupt soon, I guess. Okay. Sometimes before commencing court proceedings, what we do is that my clients say that, look, this company owes many debts to many people. So what we do is that we go on ACRA, we do a litigation search to see how many cases have been commenced against them, whether bankruptcy proceedings or insolvent winding up proceedings have been commenced. Okay, because if they have, then I don't think you already want to go through the entire court process lah. By the time it ends, they may have already been made bankrupt or wound up already. Then what you may want to do then is to instead wait for the bankruptcy order to be made or for the company to really be wound up so that you can save costs. And then what you do instead is that once they are in that situation, already wound up or already made bankrupt, then you file a proof of debt. Proof of debt is basically like a notification to the official assignee or the official receiver, basically the people who deal with the assets of the bankrupt or the wound up company, okay, to tell them that, look, there's this debts owed to you, and you attach whatever documents in support of it. For example, invoices, agreements, etc. Yeah. Then the official assignee or the official receiver will look through, see whether it seems valid, any questions they will ask. If not, then they will put you together with the other creditors and see how much can be paid lah, based on what the company has.
Oh, okay. Are
So
there
proof
any?
of that.
Yeah, sorry, Shannon, yes. Or based on that,
Yeah, so based on bankruptcy, what is the technicality of declaring as a bankrupt? I mean, do you need to be at a loss of a certain amount or what?
Okay, so the amount of debt for you to make someone else bankrupt is that the debt must be 60,000. Right now, 60,000. It used 6060.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. In the past, it used to be 15K, but because of COVID, so now it's been increased. I guess to protect people from being made bankrupt so easily lah.
Okay. Yeah, you want to say something? Okay. All right, that's quite clear. I wanted to ask actually this question. So it seems that there's a process. No matter how easy it is, it takes a process. Some paperwork here and there, some consultations. I Googled debt recovery, and there's this name that came out. JMS Rogers. Debt collectors.
Debt collectors, yes.
And I saw their profile. I kind of believe that they can collect any debt you want.
Why?
So what are the repercussions? Or as neutral, as a lawyer, is that an option for me as a business owner, or could that be even faster option to engage their services?
Okay. So debt collectors obviously will chase your clients or people who owe payment. You can chase in different ways. Some are okay, kinda, maybe just send letters. Other are more extreme. Okay. What you must remember is that these debt collectors, if they were to collect debts for you, they are basically your agents, people you've hired as agents or representatives. So what they do have repercussions on you. because you're basically authorizing them to do all these things lah. Some of them, the way in which they collect debts can amount to harassment. Okay, so if that is the case, then these people that you are claiming from can actually sue you for harassment, for asking these debt collectors to do things like that. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So I can be at fault, although I told Rogers to just chase, and Rogers was just overly enthusiastic about it.
Yeah. I've sent letters to both the debt collectors and the creditors saying that, look, correct. I mean, even if these people owe you debt monies, it doesn't mean that you can harass them. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That is very fair for being a big tyco asking the budak-budak come and collect money and they get sued by doing that. So tyco besar pun tak besar lah, bro.
Yeah.
What if we ignore their calls, their knocking on the door and everything? We just ignore them. Is there any repercussion?
No, nothing. Basically, if you owe the monies and they come to you, right? There's no repercussion on you. Just that, why would you live like that? Usually, people would live in fear. If they do that, it doesn't just affect you, it affects your whole family. Yeah.
But their MO is the same as like an along legal way lah.
Yeah, correct. So might as well just approach a lawyer, get the lawyer to send a letter saying that, look, this is harassment, you better stop. It usually works.
Oh, okay.
Okay, anyone else? Sheikh, you got anything on these things?
Okay, all good?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, thank you. So
one more question on bankruptcy.
Shannon, please.
So you were mentioning that there is a distribution of the assets by the bankrupt, right? And you would line up all the creditors. So I understand that there are a few levels of different kinds of creditors. Can explain a bit about that one?
Okay, so there's secured creditors and unsecured creditors. Secured creditors meaning when they enter into an agreement, they said that, look, I'll give you this monies or whatever, but if you fail to pay, there's this property of yours that will become mine. Something like that. So it's secured. Okay, unsecured creditors means tak ada, nothing like that lah. But even then, there's different levels. So for example, payment to employees will be prioritized, it will be higher up, right? And unfortunately, when it comes to businesses, claims between the businesses, it will be lower down lah. Employees first, because the government is trying to protect their wages. Yeah.
What is the right way then to get a secured? It can't be a loan, because if it's business to business, I can loan the other.
Yeah, secured. Security is actually very rare. It's only in like cases, for example, bank loans or hire purchase agreement, whereby you, not hire purchase per se, but like when you purchase maybe a vehicle, things like that. Yeah.
So only financial institutions.
Correct. It's usually on the higher level.
Okay. So I need to open a bank.
Okay. All right. Are there any other questions?
There was something that I thought of. That I thought I should probably say.
Sure.
When it comes to debts, when it comes to debts, obviously there must be a date on which the debt is due. So agreements for payments need not be made in writing, but even if it's verbal, just make sure that there's clarity stating exactly when payment is to be made. So just like, for example, April 2020 is not sufficient. It should be like, for example, 15 April 2020. Yeah. And even if it's not written, it's not a proper contract with clauses, etc., it's fine. But maybe just drop a text or something saying that, oh, you know, we agreed on this, so that that text, email, WhatsApp can serve as proof in the event the matter goes to court. Because if it goes to court, there's two types of evidence you can rely on. The first is witness evidence. The second are documentary evidence. Documentary evidence, usually there's a higher weightage placed on it because they are usually like drafted or given prior to the dispute, right when it occurred. So it gives a more, how do I say, neutral perspective of what happened at that time. Witnesses, on the other hand, can lie. There can be issues of credibility. The court may not believe you just because, you know, your answers keep changing on stand. Yeah. So documents as much as possible.
Okay.
So the documentation that is acceptable in court, you said, is text. So
any
text
form,
just
any form. So obviously a well drafted contract is the best because then all the clauses will be inside. But even if you don't have one, if you think it's too expensive, etc., or like, you know, it's so simple, then just record it via WhatsApp. Like just send a WhatsApp message, but screenshot, because WhatsApp messages can be deleted or lost. Yeah, if you don't back up your phone.
Just thought of something. What about cross-border issues?
Cross-border issues. It's something that Siraj brought up also before. He highlighted that maybe I should cover. Cross-border issues, it basically means that there's a higher likelihood that both parties are from different countries. Yeah. The job scope could be just in one country or could be in both, right? If there's a contract, it will be best. It will be the ultimate best because there's two main issues that are core to agreements in general, but especially in this type of agreements. The first is which law governs the contract. Okay. Obviously, the laws of Singapore will be different from the laws of Saudi. It can also differ from the laws of Malaysia, even though we have some historic background. We had some.
But say like what you said just now, we don't have a really tight contract. We just have a.
If you don't have a really tight contract or nothing in writing, then the court will look at, okay, it's an issue of what we call conflict of laws. Conflict of laws is not a simple issue. Basically, the court will see, okay, who are the parties, what facts or circumstance points to which area of law more. So for example, if a Singapore company and a company in Saudi, but most of the works are supposed to be done in Singapore, other factors point to Singapore, then the laws that are applicable could be the laws of Singapore instead of Saudi, right? The second issue that well-drafted contracts would state is the question of what we call jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is basically if there's a dispute, where should the case be commenced? Which court? Singapore court or the court overseas? Okay. Some contract will say just Singapore court. So exclusive jurisdiction of the Singapore court. Some can say, okay, non-exclusive jurisdiction of Singapore court, meaning preferably Singapore, but other countries also can. So if you wanted to make it easier for you, you would say jurisdiction of Singapore court, because you then, if there's a dispute, then you don't need to travel overseas. They would have to be the one coming over. Yeah. Yeah, but even if you were to commence in Singapore, the question is, if you get the judgment, then how can you force them to pay, right? If they have assets in Singapore, then that's great. It's good because you can just commence the enforcement proceedings in Singapore. But if the assets are overseas, then you will have to get the Singapore judgment recognized and enforced overseas. So you'll have to commence another case overseas to recognize the Singapore judgment and do whatever with their assets there.
So it's more difficult.
Yeah, Which countries? Which countries? Any country, but Commonwealth countries, we have this thing called the RECJA, Recognition and Enforcement of Commonwealth Jurisdiction Act or something like that. I can't remember the exact words because we usually call it RECJA, but it's easier enforced and recognized if that's the case. Easier recognition, especially when the judgment just says that you have to pay a certain sum lah. If it's not a Commonwealth country, then a bit more tough. You have to there's another area of law that governs it, which is quite complex.
Okay, Indonesia is not a Commonwealth.
I don't think so. No.
The Dutch. Stemming from there, we've got our friend from Indonesia. I thought maybe you should ask him. So what's the common way for businesses to recover their debts in Indonesia?
Well,
by legal ways, suddenly your mobilnya meletup ke apa? How does it work?
Well, like how the other country practice. Well, there's the real world practice and also underworld practice. So if as of underworld practice, I think it's almost similar, whereby they send people and arrest you and collect money. As of for the real world, where the corporate world, the bankers, the banking way of collecting, pretty much the same. They send letters, they call you, similar. Nothing much different. It's just probably the different in terms of the process, the law process. That's what I believe, because I'm also comparing it with Malaysia at the same time. But I believe Malaysia and Singapore practice the same
similar
law.
Yeah, correct.
Similar law system, because we come from the English. So
yeah.
So the Dutch probably different because they are Dutch.
Their vowels are different, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
It's not A-E-I-O-U, right?
Yeah, correct. I thought I should ask this question also. I'm actually leaving Roy to take the breath of fresh air, probably some water. Okay. Maybe I want to ask Sharifuddin also. Sharifuddin is, from what I understand, is also in the insurance industry. And I was Googling and I bumped into this thing called trade credit insurance. Sharifuddin, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, okay. I mean, is there such a thing, or how does it work? Does it even work in Singapore? Yeah, do you have any views about it? Maybe you can also introduce yourself at the same time.
Okay, hi. I apologize again for unable to putting on my video. This is due to some technical glitch. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can.
Yeah, we can see you as well. No worries.
Okay. My main professional career is on life insurance and things governing general insurance perspective. However, in terms of trade credit insurance, I might not be the best to advise, but I have deal with certain advisory on this. The main concept of trade credit insurance is it protects manufacturers or whoever that is in a commercial trade debt. So if a buyer does not pay due to like bankruptcy or insolvency, then it can also be if somebody pays very late, then the trade credit insurance policy will pay out a percentage of the outstanding amount due. So the main thing here is it protects your cash flow while you recover. So it's not something that helps you to claim from the other party, but if you have evidence that, for example, let's just give a scenario of I paid $10,000 for pre-ordering of something from a vendor, and let's turn that around. I got $10,000 from someone, and then now I can deliver the item. I can deliver my product. So in this situation, the trade credit insurance from the party that is paying will protect that party for that percentage amount. But often it's not normally practiced in small SMEs and like sole proprietorship and all that, because we want our cost to go down. So for us to take trade credit insurance for every single debt that we have, we will be thinking of an overhead that is quite high. Yeah, so the premium normally, this is like a reinsurance of whatever that you are dealing with. So it is normally practical on big companies where they will need this facility to enhance their cash flow.
In your opinion, or you know, in your some experience, are these premiums very high? You know, because there's some things about insurance that is totally like, sorry, but sometimes redundant. Wow, the premium is just too high to cover. You know, is this one of it, or do you know if it's actually quite affordable for SMEs per se?
The first thing first is they have to really look through the contract of the credit facility. So it really needs time to even approve the underwriting for these cases.
Oh,
and
okay.
Yeah, it's not just something that you can buy online. You really need to put it through, and then like how you buy for health insurance, they will really have a health check on your credit. If you have an existing debt and all these things, they will have an idea that you are making use of this soon. Like, you know, people will have this purchase, especially during this COVID-19 situation. I think a lot of people will be like happy to hear more about this insurance. But after the pandemic commenced, there will be a lot of clauses, just like travel insurance. It's not covering anything that you want to do now. If you want to travel, then it's your own risk. They will have clauses that says that when the government says don't and you want to do, then they will not cover. So it's similarly to a credit risk. When the whole world is in a risk, I don't think an insurer want to absorb that risk. So it needs to be set there and then when you decide on signing up with a credit facility or you are a victim of a credit issue. I think it has to be thought well before the signing up of the loan. When you sign up for huge credit facilities with the banks, where you can have collaterals involved to make yourself be having a higher loan amount, this issue on credit insurance will be a factor that they will count in.
Okay, thank you, Sharifuddin. I mean, I think that helps.
Welcome.
It's something that is additional information for us, or another potential option. Like, you know, in the end, I believe the more options we have, the more that we can actually look at it. All right. So, anyone else? I actually have this question. For example, I've always heard this thing, mediation. It's always closely related to law or litigation, and I mean, like, you know, court proceedings and all that. And people say, hey, go for mediation, it's much better rather than going for the full court case in terms of cost and maybe time also. In terms of debt recovery, is mediation an option?
Yes. So mediation is basically it's like a meeting whereby both parties meet, exchange settlement proposals. Hopefully they can arrive at something or close the gap between parties, but there's a third party involved who will be there to try and convince parties to bridge this gap lah. Okay. Mediations are common during court proceedings. So halfway through, no matter which court you commence in, the court will ask, okay, are parties open for mediation? And usually right now, especially if we say that, look, my client doesn't want to go for mediation, then the court will ask why. The court really wants parties to settle lah, and the settlement at mediation has a higher percentage right? A settlement can be done in various ways. You can exchange correspondences to do so. That will be slower, it will take time because you wait for the other side to respond, etc. Right? Mediation is faster and better because there's a third party and you can just, I give you the offer now, it could be 5 minutes later or 20 minutes later, you say no and you give me another counter offer. Okay. Another option is what we call a without prejudice meeting. It's like mediation. The parties talk it out. The difference is that there's no third party to kind of help bridge the gap. And the third parties are very useful, especially if they have some legal background now, because they can say, hey, you are the claimant, but your case is not that strong. There's all these like loopholes. I think you really should consider taking a cut. Okay. Yes. So mediation during court proceedings is very usual. It's free, i.e. You don't need to pay the mediator's fee when it's at the magistrate's court. Another thing that is interesting is that since late last year, the court has released this new protocol whereby for claims between two businesses, there are comments in the magistrate's court. The letter of demand that you send before going to court, right? It has to be a bit more specific. There are certain things that should be placed inside. One of which is that whether the claimant is open for mediation. So this is good because it kind of gives the option for mediation even before a case commences in court lah. Then it will, hopefully save parties' monies if a settlement is reached.
So is there a sample letter that magistrate court gives us?
Yeah, there is sample. There's a sample response. I know there's a sample response. Sample letter, I cannot remember because I don't really rely on the sample letters to send out. But I know that there are certain things, there's a point form of what they ask to state. Yeah. I'm guessing there should be lah, since there's a sample response.
Yeah, so if they have a list of things that we must put in an LOD, they should at least give us a sample.
There should be. Hold on, let me just. Okay, cannot. I cannot just find it from the state court's website because I think it's in what we call practice directions. So there's a specific I guess release from the court. Yeah. There's a specific document for it lah. I don't think it's not I don't think it's a form that you can just click on in court. But you can try find, I guess.
Right. By the way, I think Sharifuddin also shared a link for trade credit insurance in our chat.
Yeah. I think I just learned this though. I think Enterprise Singapore is giving some subsidy, but you can see that your business size must have 100 million. So it's just about big entities.
Okay. That's I think it's a motivation for us to reach that stage. Inshallah. Okay, all right. So interesting about mediation and debt recovery. Okay, guys. Any other questions that you guys might have? Okay, I got a question actually. So I'm gonna make it very simple. So this guy is owing me money. Again, so he owes me probably maybe $100,000 or something, $100,000, and I actually, somehow or another, I am actually having some of his assets.
You have some of his assets.
Yeah, I mean, like just his laptop is with me, his car is with me. I mean, we used to be partners.
Okay.
We used to be partners, for example. So, is it okay if I hold on to these assets which were registered under his name?
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess
you
the
get the gist of it, right?
I understand.
Basically, he owes me in cash lah. But I say, no point lah. For what I want to give back his car and his a certain laptop and some things in the office. I say, no. I'm not gonna give him back. I'm just gonna hold on to it lah, as a bit of a guarantee to get my cash back. So is that right or wrong in terms of the law?
Okay, I'm not sure about the
I suffer before. I suffer before in the same thing. What you had that in Malaysia we did actually not me, my partner who actually hold back the computer of the tenant, hold back to don't allow them to take it until they make payment. We can us left, right, and center. Holo, they claim us couple $1 million. You know, I mean they can make the story about, they create a story whereby because of the computer not there, the data not there, they lose don't know how many contract worth million of contract. I think very dangerous to do that. Unless we just let the fella burn we let him go away without paying his what he owes us.
Okay. Well, that was an experience.
They're very lousy experience.
Yep. So I guess everyone knows the answer is no, you can't do that, because obviously even though they have rights and obligations, you have obligations also, i.e. that property is not yours, so you have to return it, right? Even though they didn't pay you the money, unless there's a separate clause saying
Okay. Am I lagging or?
No, I
IT
think
guy,
can
you confirm I'm not the one? Did I press something?
it's not you.
No, okay, thank you so much. Yes. Okay, never mind.
Time is up. The lawyers clock very efficient.
This is the part where we have to start paying.
Yeah, man.
Alamak, they can say like cliffhanger, no more cliffhanger.
Okay,
it's not yes or no. And then this is the part there will be a trailer down. Please contact us for further consultation. And that includes you, Siraj. That includes you.
There she goes.
I guess who's getting the highest bill?
This is live on Facebook.
Shake, you Shake, not me.
Never mind. That's so interesting experience about debts and things like this. So, I wanted to answer another question was, how can she advise us what to look out to get a lawyer about debt recovery, as neutral as possible?
But
there's always a dime a dozen, you see. These lawyers, and you Google or you got friends, everyone's got a lawyer friend.
Hi, everybody.
All right, there's a backup guy. There's the voice.
Hello. But I don't want you to see me. I'm a bit too sexy today. So imagine
name, I think we could guess, but yeah.
Okay, actually, I get that question a lot, Siraj.
Betul.
I get a lot. Actually, it's not just for debt recovery, especially for criminal cases and divorce. And I tell everybody that I meet macam gini. Yeah, you have to go and jumpa these lawyers yang you potentially want to engage tau. I mean, this is from personal experience.
Intro sikit dulu.
Oh, sorry, I'm Haryani. I'm the business and business development and marketing manager of IRB Law.
Okay, thank you.
So I am here, and
I need the lawyers.
Yeah, I'm not a lawyer, but I am with IRB Law, and sometimes I do take in leads and help the lawyers with the consult, but mostly I'm marketing and business development. So when they ask me how I know who to engage, actually kalau you ada 2-3 to meet up first atau talk on the phone first, it will be good because you need to choose somebody, right, who you are comfortable with. Simple sensitive things like cerai ataupun criminal matters, I have had experiences before I joined IRB. I was with other firms and all that, and then for a while I was not with any law firm, but I do sometimes ikut my friend pergi certain law firm consultation and all that. Some lawyers can really judge you tau. This is real lah.
Wow.
Is IRB punya policy that we don't do that. We are very kalau any one of us happen to macam terpesong from the policy, our boss is going to be hitting hard on us, because the first rule of the day is to be sensitive. Okay, so that's why we get even criminal cases, kita ada orang lelaki yang macam curi-curi lah, underage sexual offences. Yes, and then people like Royani or someone who looks like her, one of my criminal lawyer who's also a partner, she's a very petite lady with tudung tau. So, but she gets the most of this kind of sexual offences punya clients from word of mouth, because she's unjudgmental and because she's sensitive. So when you go to your lawyer, say, okay, macam sekarang you tengok Roy knows all the answers. So you are in safe hands in terms of understanding the subject matter. But and she's not dismissive of you, macam I have heard of people punya complain where oh, aku bilang dia aku tak ada contract, and then dia ketawakan aku, dia kata pada muka kau, siapa suruh tak ada contract. And tu macam gitu tau. So I mean, if you are in that position where you nak ambil duit you balik, tak ada contract pun kita boleh cuba, you see. But how do you feel when a lawyer tu atau somebody go and tell you, who ask you, siapa suruh kau macam itu, bodoh kan? Itu kurang ajar, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you cannot be like that. That's putting down people. As it is, they are really down as it is.
Yeah. Yes, I think it shouldn't be like that lah. So I hope I answered your question, Siraj. This is as neutral as you can get. And it's good that Roy is not here also lah to
I'm here.
Hear. Oh, you're here, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I suddenly realized I was talking to myself and that my Wi-Fi was down. Yeah.
Aku baru nak gossip pasal kau. Okay.
I heard part of it.
So they were asking me how should they choose the lawyer. So I said they should be comfortable, and I shared with them that our policy is to make sure that our lawyers are not insensitive, rude, or judgmental. So that's one or two pointers to start with lah. Yeah. Do you want to add anything, Roy?
Yeah, I agree. And I guess one of the things that I basically trained at IRB, and I've been in the firm for quite a number of years lah. Okay, so one of the things that our managing partner does is that he doesn't just give legal options and solutions. He tries to find a practical outcome for clients. So whether there's any other ways around, basically practical options lah. Like what Hani said, there are many clients who come to me and say that, look, I gave a loan, there's no IOU, no contract, nothing at all, no WhatsApp or text even, okay, which is difficult. But that's not the end of it. What I actually told them was that even though there's no WhatsApp or text message now, but if they have reassured you maybe last week or last month that they will pay, why not you just drop them a text now to clarify, and if they respond, then that text can just be your documentary evidence now. Yeah, practical solutions lah.
Okay, that's sound advice lah. You know, definitely something that we should consider when we want to engage a lawyer for, because I find a lawyer, a financial advisor, a doctor, a tutor are people very close to you. Sometimes they might know even more than your wife, actually. There's certain things that probably you're more comfortable sharing with them rather than sharing with your own family. So it's something that, it's always a case whereby people are not sure who is good or who can actually get them out of their predicament. Okay. Any other questions? If not, let's just do what we do best, like just introduce ourselves, talk about, just have some networking before we call it a day. Right. So, maybe actually just a bit of an introduction, because I think Sheikh also is not a very frequent visitor to Zoom networking. I think it'd be good to know more about what Sheikh does, and actually I see some potential collaborations from co-working spaces and law firms.
Right. I think Shana know me. I think Zaha, I think the other time, right? Is it mid? But anyway, okay. I'm into my dah sudah tua lah, sudah it's like my
Oh,
second life. Second life now that I'm more into facilitating young people to do business, and then my co-working space is a complementary business that I have. So that's it. And actually, it happened that I was very interested in startup scene, but I was introduced into service office by my cousin in Kuala Lumpur. That I actually started the service office in Kuala Lumpur in 2014. So it was until I was there for about 3 years. Then we broke even. Then I came back to Singapore. Then got chance to start my co-working space here and work with some startups.
okay.
Yeah.
How long has that been, Sheikh? I think quite some time, right?
No. For Singapore, it just started in 2017.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah, just
All right. So how is there a lot of people who have reported their what you call it, subscription or something? Quite a
for
number.
me, yeah, quite a number because quite at least about 30%.
Oh, okay.
It's quite bad. How Shannon? How about your side? Your side there? How many people cabut? No,
I don't know, man. I
don't
go
know.
to office maybe once in 2 weeks, so I have no
Oh.
idea what's going on. I went there yesterday.
Okay.
Very empty. Even
Oh.
though phase one already, it's still very empty. So I'm not sure
Yeah,
empty
because-
because they left or empty because they want to come back yet. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
But I
for
think
my
generally
place,
because they still cannot come back. Well, I mean, maybe the founder or the bosses themselves can come, but you
Yeah.
cannot get an employee. You cannot get an employee come back to work in office, what, if they can work
Yeah.
from home. And all this, like all your business, so you can do at home actually, right? Everybody.
Yeah, lor.
So
It's just a prestigious
most on
address for
the
me.
technology industry, except you do work on physical infrastructure. That also sometimes generally you can work from home. So it's a bit
Yeah.
tough.
Correct.
But the sense of feeling that I get from my client is like very weird. I mean the case where like I spoke to one which he says that, oh, I'm not using the office because now I cannot go office, so why should I pay for it? Then I just told him very simple. If you rent a house, then you go for holiday 1-2 months. Can you tell the landlord you don't pay because you never use the house?
I get what you mean, lah. So that's why I always pay. I always pay my co-working
Alamak,
space.
then you should be my client.
Hey, I saw your building, right? You know, we met underneath your building.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, guys. I'm telling you, the view is fantastic. I went to my client's unit. It's wow, man. Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe Shannon, you want to share something about what you do? Because we've got Royani and also Sharifuddin here today.
Yeah. So IRB is my client, by the way. I don't know
Nice.
whether you guys notice I come in once in a while. So yeah, I do IT support. Basically, providing end user support to companies. So I am running now my own IT help desk call center. So any employee or staff that needs support, then we will provide that. So we do offer contracts. So that's where the issue again. I think in the previous with Mumtaz, my main concern is the contracts. So some contracts were suspended. I don't know what that means, but yeah. So that's what I do. So now it's quite a bad time. People say IT is good, but if there's no people paying, then it's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
No,
all left, right,
really.
center. Yeah.
You were sharing something in the group chat just now.
Yeah. So now we are refocusing our efforts. Instead of contracts, nobody can pay contracts. So now we are doing more of lower value items. So we are selling refurbished laptops now. We are also providing simple remote support to homes. So we are kind of shifting back towards smaller jobs, I would say, which is making us survive, frankly. Very few contract clients or corporate clients now, sadly. Even in phase 2, some of my clients are still keeping quiet, whether they want to reactivate the contract that we have. So those are some of the things. I think I stated inside my Berita Harian article, I lost about 50% of the contracts at the start of COVID, at the start of April. Immediately 50% of the contract gone. So that was a shocker. They don't need to wait for long. Not even the enhanced circuit breaker. Right at the start of the circuit breaker is already quite bad. But that's what I do, the IT services. But we are also looking now into selling IT accessories. So we do have a China sourcing agent now. So we are sourcing for IT accessories that we can bring into Singapore. So it kind of the COVID situation kind of moves us into more of consumer market now. I think you should read recently, even the distributors are moving into consumer market. So I think that's something that's going to be a new norm also.
Diversify,
I think the distributor has been trying to go directly into market before, and now actually the COVID-19 is the best opportunity for them to. Those that's already geared up before, I think that's the time for them to take advantage of it, get it rolling now.
But of course, now they find out that the nitty-gritty of providing end user support. That's what we are strong at. We provide and we layan all our clients. We must manja them, all these things. So I think any professional service people will know lah. So lawyers, accountants, all these things. So distributors play a different level.
Also I want to add something, because I want to add something that what I'm doing also. I have a team of tech guys who creating digital this GeoSpectre solution to create a digital address in our target market now, Philippines. We are, like what I said, talking about this distributor, like this Mondelez actually working. We are creating a solution for Mondelez so such that they can target the store. In Philippines they got the sari store, like Indonesia you got the warung, right? So there's previously the product, all this chocolate lah, gula-gula, all this thing, all those, the craft foods, Nestle, all this. So they are going through many chain of distributor, middlemen to go to the sari store. So they are trying to go directly. So maybe one day, so once we will be looking into Indonesia market to work with those suppliers to supply this the what you call your warung store lah. What any particular name that you call it?
If actually it's something similar like SME, small SME. That we call it as UMKM. UMKM it is actually wait, let me. It's actually it's called usaha mikro kecil menengah.
Micro lah,
so small.
That's why in Philippines they call it sari store. So those small, sometimes they just got like a hole in the wall in Singapore last time. Or now like beside the rumah they just put tent and then jual gula-gula, jual air lah, jual something, something like that lah. What I thought Indonesia also, I think you got millions of this kind of stores, right?
Yes. Yeah. We can operate everything from the house.
Awesome.
So your techie guy is doing that
Yeah,
for Philippines. Oh,
for
interesting.
Philippines. Yeah. We are we are tagging addresses, but this store, this Story store working with the Mondelez is a means for us to get the address tag now.
Mm.
All right. Zaha, actually, what you do in leisure? You want to share a bit?
Oh, okay. Well, why I am in Indonesia because I live here. We, as a family, we run a small little business where it's actually on fashion. It's under the category of modern fashion, ready to wear. So we have a shop here. We have a small shop here, and we do our own design, and we produce ourselves. And we have a small workshop that actually produce our design. So it's not like a big, large scale kind of production where we only produce per design about 6 to 12 pieces. So every article we have like a small quantity. And at the same time, I am also uh, helping Touch in Indonesia, a consulting company from Singapore to expand the business throughout Indonesia. Also, I am also helping my other friend in Malaysia, who is also expanding market in Indonesia, where the product is actually in Osaka, Japan. So where we actually doing some sort like business directory more to halal industry. So yes, I was previously working with the Malay Chamber of Commerce Malaysia. It's actually similar to SFCCI, but the Malaysia version.
Oh, so you are Malaysian, is it?
I am Malaysian.
Oh, no wonder you don't have the bahasa on the telo.
Yes. So I am a Malaysian who live in Indonesia, trying and struggling to speak like Indonesian. Every time I go out and speak Indonesian, some of them who are familiar with Malaysian and Singaporean,
they can pecah lubang. They know where you from.
Yeah, they can detect you. Some they don't. So yeah, okay, good. So yes, that's how I got to know Tosh Group, which is through the chambers. And the reason, because why I am in chambers, I also travel through all these Southeast Asia country. So that's how we get connected to Thailand, Indonesia, Singapore, and also Malaysia. Working together with Touch is actually pretty much is what I like to do and what we love to do. That's why we actually did this. We actually set up this Zoom networking to actually non-stop network with anyone from all this country. So yeah, to be fair, in this afternoon, I actually spoke with one of our so-called members. Everyone who actually joined Zoom networking already considered as members. So he said that this is a very good networking, the new normal networking session that we implement so that we can actually speak to all of these contacts of ours. So thank you, Siraj, for introducing us to our new lawyer, Miss Roy. So now I know who to ask, because when you were in chambers, right, people just assume that you can answer all the business matter. whereby we don't really do that. We actually consult with all our members and our partners in terms of that. So now at least I know if I want to recover my money from Singapore, all I need to do is to call Roy.
Yeah, I can email also. Because my office phone is in office. Because half the time I'm in office, half the time at home, right?
Yeah.
So email is actually the best because I have it on my phone also. So even 1 a.m. if it's urgent, then I will, I can respond at that time also. Yeah.
Oh yes, not to forget Miss Honey Diva. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. I
Thank
think
you.
Miss Honey is very prompt. She ready the moment you ask, she ready put the Zoom chat.
Yeah.
She's prompt, you see. Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully I can get more time with you, Miss Honey, since you are doing marketing and business development. Yeah,
Sure. You can. I can also put my phone number here for everybody to see. Weirdly enough, because it's the COVID, and then kesian a lot of our community punya what is it called? Businesses are in trouble, right? I've been helping some of SMCCI punya even members to go for consultation with the lawyers, and then tolong dorang macam, okay, instead of suing or instead of getting sued, the lawyers actually advise them to meet in the middle. So either that kind of like negotiation. So it's good. So if you have anything after this, definitely my number is there. You can message me anytime.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zaha. Appreciate it. Sharifdin, anything, any other final questions or anything you can introduce yourself? You did a bit just now. Any other words?
Okay, thank you for the session. I believe it benefits me in
Alhamdulillah.
explaining and also engaging to clients who are business owners. But I have a handful of clients dealing with businesses, especially those who can move forward well, but they are restricting themselves because they are now sole prop, and then they are thinking whether they should declare private limited. Clients like, if I can mention, roti, they are selling drinks at Pasar Malam, but this year's circuit breaker is making this Pasar Malam business fail, but they proceed in their sale in online via Facebook, Instagram, and a lot of online portals, which now I heard they are transiting to GrabFood also. So things that are available in Pasar Malam is now almost redundant. I don't know how it will be if Pasar Malam were to start back again. I probably think the rental will go down because people will appreciate online purchases nowadays. Of course, they beat their brand by Pasar Malam 2-3 years ago. So my worry will be on people who are starting up. Like, let's say you leave your job last year and want to set up something this year, and the pandemic comes. So I think whatever that was advised or shared in this session is, of course, useful for myself and also anyone that I can share. Thank you for the context. I will link up in possible ways that will benefit both of yourselves and also my clients. Just to touch a little bit on insurance, since I'm here as an insurance agent, there's one very important thing that we can do on all of our insurance policies without worrying about us being a bankrupt or someone we love being a bankrupt. Every of your life insurance policies can be nominated. Nomination of beneficiaries is something similar to what you do with your CPF money, but it's something free of charge that sadly a lot of agents fail to advise clients on doing it. I do not know why. I got to pause for a while as a claim client. Okay, sorry. I'm above tengah. I'm near tengah air base, so I always have this issue. Okay. Nomination of beneficiaries is something that is important that you can exercise on every of your policies so that your loved ones or whoever you wish to nominate will receive whatever that they need when you are no longer around. So this is something that is neglected by many because it's just something that doesn't pay commission and is an extra work for an agent. So do take a look at your policies and ensure that they are nominated. And if you have changes to be made, act on it fast before someone that should get it don't get it. Example, you have a newborn son this year and you haven't added it into a nomination. In this situation, someone who does not nominate will benefit more than you because your nominated policy will not pay to a recipient of your inheritance. Even though you go to Sharia court, nobody can fight because nomination of beneficiaries is even it's written. We are unique. The first page it says that AMLA is also there to it won't be categorized as a Sharia distribution. So nomination of beneficiaries is also protected by debtors. You cannot go bankrupt before you make a nomination, but if after that you go on a bankruptcy order or something happens, the money is safe for your family. Yeah, that's what I can share. I mean, my 2 cents worth.
No, thank you so much. I know Sharifuddin like I think more than a decade ago, so very very close friend, and I also professionally I've engaged his services. Not that I get a commission or anything like that for sure, but I vouch for his services, and I've seen it for other people also. See, I find at least for me, my previous financial advisor also was a friend. I have 5 financial advisors or any of this insurance kind of claims. That person must be on the spot speak dial. You know, get to, you know, because again, a sad part. My friend also ever mentioned. He said, "Bila happy tak ada orang cari insurance agent. No one cares about them. Whether they give or not." You know. But you know, when there is a claim to be made for first person to, or if the investment not doing well, first person to call upon. But one thing about Sharifuddin, he's there whenever you need him, or sometimes he does share whatever products that he's used to. One thing that I keep long-standing business relationships with people who actually try to they what call it even though I want something, they will tell me that I don't need it actually. These are the people that I'll keep in contact for a long time. People like Shanan. Sometimes I will like say, hey, I want this one like fancy, you know, this one. They're like, hey, actually no need, bro. There's a premium. There's this thing. You click on here, you click on that, and then you get it. What you want to spend money for? You know, I'm like, wow. Hey, when actually you could have just sold me for a bomb or something like that. But these are people who, you know, and he does do it to me just because I'm his partner or his friend. But he does it to other people also. And we got some people in our group, in our networking group, you know, people like Mazluddin, awesome stuff. Obviously, you know, people at RB Law also, the reason why we actually work with them, because they also hold a similar ethos. I think
thank you,
Sina. No problem, Haryani.
I
Appreciate it.
need to apologize. I have Royani have another 5 p.m. one.
Oh, okay. Right. So
Yeah,
Royani,
I still got to go also.
yeah, maybe Royani
Bye-bye.
give a bit of a summary and then, yeah. Or,
Yes.
yeah.
So in summary, debts can be recovered. Many ways to do so. Each case is different. So no matter what, I think you can just drop us an email, a call. We are here to help. Yeah. And we'll analyze your case from the start lah. So like what Sheikh asked previously, will you only give the strengths and weaknesses halfway through or at the end? No, we usually tell you at the start based on what we have lah. Yeah, can email us and call like what Hani dropped in the text tadi.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it a lot. I think we enjoy having RB Law with us and also all of you. Those who want to stay can just stay along, and then bye. You guys got something on, please carry on. And we'll see you guys next week.
I got to go. Bye.
All right, no problem. Sheikh. Take care. All the
Thanks,
best in your
Siraj.
recovery for the debts and stuff. We got the experts to meet. Thank you, no problem, Roy.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Siraj. See you,
Take care.
everyone.
Yeah,
Bye.
Hayani.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Okay,
Assalamualaikum.
to the next important question. Who are you having breakfast with on Friday morning?
Oh, best.
Aku bilang biasa lah.
Okay, simple. Alamak, ini otak sudah berbual Otak sudah berbual. Dia bilang
Kau tak tahu dah keluar muka, keluar suara.
Wah, kira nak pergi food hole Pasar Gilang. Tapi tak apa, okay. Ada cakap ni, lontong session apa? Lontong with love.
Aku nak prata banjir ya.
Kau nak lah, semua kau nak lah.
Prata banjir lah.
Pak Prata Banjir tu tanya, Den mesti tahu ni.
Mana?
Prata banjir victory ya.
Victory tak pernah makan lah Prata banjir
Baik ni Pasar Gilang apa pun cantik juga. Although the wife really mention first dia kat rumah bilang dah, nak pergi pasar. Sampai tu pergi makan sarapan. Tak sedar ni pasar. Ni tak pergi pasar. Tak. I thought Friday kita pergi makan sarapan sekali saya pergi pasar. Okay. Tak apa. Malam tu kita jumpa Azri tak? If you want to join lah, Nan.
Azri mana?
Azri Malaysia Embassy
Oh, kat mana?
Al-Azhar. Ya, Zah.
Yang kata kan ada few countries masuk tak payah buat apa stay home tu kan.
Betul.
Yeah.
So dia based on country ke based on citizenship?
Country
that you come from. Not citizenship.
So
and based on the number of days you stay in that country. So your travel history also is considered. So I think you must be staying in that country for 14 or 21 days or something like that. Yeah. Alah, government dah fikir ni semua lah. Yeah. So let's say you say you're from Korea, right? You want to make sure that you have stayed in Korea for at least I think 21 days. And then you clear boleh masuk Singapore. So lesser than that tak boleh lah.
If you live more?
Boleh lah, lesser tak boleh. The restriction is still there.
If I come tomorrow, so aku kena duduk rumah. Korang datang breakfast dengan aku dekat rumah je lah.
Boleh.
Kita dah tak sabar nak keluar rumah, aku nak duduk rumah. Jadi
Aduh.
So Indonesia still close border?
Still close. Tapi siapa yang ada, macam kau ada kitas, kau boleh datang, tak ada hal.
Without proof pun boleh datang?
Aku tadi tengah check sebab apparently the